Are we recording right now, or?
Yeah, we're recording right now. Okay. Cool. So we'll just get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to be going through our digital privacy workshop. We have James, our digital privacy analyst, that's going to drive us through a very exciting topic of advertisement ID. Today's topic is privacy versus personalization, the role of advertising IDs in our digital ads, and then the goal of this is an everyday navigator in the digital world, shielded by a cloak of privacy and awareness. You're in the right place if you're just curious about what information's out there, want to become more aware of what your digital shadow looks like, you're overwhelmed with what the amount of data you share, what the news are saying, and you want some level of control. And you're just interested in seeing what's out there that's open source for you to use, for you to manage your digital footprint, and we're here to help you with that. Essentially, we want you to become a ghost in the wire. A little bit about me. I am a security professional of over 12 years, working in the open source and AI security space at Microsoft as a senior security manager. Also a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, been coaching and training for the last 6 years. And I am the executive director, co-founder of Lioness Instincts. This is just a little bit about me, but let's go over to our speaker of the day. This is...
Yeah, sorry, I didn't put together the introduction slide, but my name is James Ray. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for about 2 years, and for the past year and a half, I would say, I've been studying digital privacy especially, and trying to increase my own privacy in my life so I understand how it's done and how to teach other people how to do the same, and mainly the reasons why someone would want to do this.
Yeah, we thank you for your expertise. You did also have time in digital privacy at another organization, correct?
Yeah, that was my main job, was to learn about digital privacy and teach it.
Very cool. We got an expert on board. Thank you for this today, James. So a little bit about the nonprofit. We are the Lioness Instincts. We have a mission to empower women to protect themselves in our physical and digital space. We use principles of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and cybersecurity, and this is in ways to align the huntress in all of us. And in this, we engage in threat risk analysis with mitigation tactics. The Lioness Instincts is physically sponsored by the Hack Club Bank for the 501c nonprofit status. Here are some links and ways to connect with us. Our mission is essentially to awaken the warrior spirit within all of us. Some of the things that we're looking to do within the upcoming years is provide additional self-defense classes, digital privacy workshops covering all things online safety. And then in the future, we're looking to expand out to career development and financial help. Always willing to grow together. So here are some active links to find blogs of how to get started in cybersecurity, some of the technical things. Look for our schedules of our self-defense classes down in South Florida or with partner events. Join our mailing list for our newsletters to get all the details in your mailbox. And then open to discuss career development one-on-one or group weekly cohorts. Today, we're going to discuss digital privacy, advertisement IDs, privacy settings, and then choosing your apps. So what does digital privacy mean to you? Some areas of digital privacy that are impacted that folks might not think about is social media. Just being on the platform, whether you're public or private, is really a frequent target for cyber criminals, because without knowledge and understanding, we willy-nilly just share things online, not realizing that we have personal information that we're sharing to strangers on the internet. Dating is another area that's impacted by our digital privacy, especially when it comes to events of harassment, cyber stalking, and so much more. Travel, our digital footprint can be left behind while we're traveling, and it can lead to unintended trails, somebody tracking you, and just watching you across the globe. And just for interesting, I saw a post the other day that someone had posted their flight information online, and it became like, I think, a Reddit thread. They posted the information of their flight online. Somebody called and canceled their flight, and they didn't realize it until they went to the airport that their flight was canceled. So if you really want to take your trips, don't share your information online. And then just overall safety. Online data exposes us to a plethora of things, especially the sensitive information that's out there. And I know James is going to cover more of this when we cover the ad ID. Some stats from 2020, we had 36 billion records exposed. There is a large amount of our data being used, and folks are really concerned with it, with 85%. Americans are seeing that they have little to no trust in social media, and 63% are unaware of the laws that are actually protecting our data. There is 60% of reports of someone being harassed on online dating apps and or social media. Even if they express dislike or ask them to leave them alone, they just continue. With the trend of AI, there is an 80% belief that this will become used for other things, to be used in unintended ways, and could be uncomfortable for the everyday user. Now, our legal disclaimer: everything we are sharing today is for educational and ethical use. We are providing you this for your own intended purpose. The techniques, tools, and skills that we're showing you today are for your own personal privacy and security. We urge you to use this knowledge ethically and responsibly, and make sure that the information you use, you have consent and explicit permission. We're not authorizing this to be used in any way that violates any laws or regulations or against other individuals, companies, entities, or so forth. And anyone that is associated with this event, this webinar, including our hosts and sponsors, are not responsible for how you use this data. We are focused on teaching you understanding and promoting protection of privacy in a lawful and ethical manner. And with that, I'm going to send it over to James.
Yeah, so today we're going to focus on a certain kind of technology called advertisement ID. Could you move to the next slide, please? So advertisement ID is a technology that hasn't been heard about for a little bit, but it looks like it just came out as in some news reports that this is a prominent technology that is really what allows your phone to become a tracking device. When people say your phone is tracking throughout your day, it knows where you are in the world, this is the technology that usually is driving that process. And thankfully, this is something that's very easy to shut off. It's just not talked about, so many people don't stumble across the right button to hit. Can we go to the next slide, please? So for this, I decided to put together a little analogy rather than jumping right into the technical specifics. So let's say you have 3 friends and you want to tell them a story about what happened to you past weekend, but you're embarrassed of what happened, so you only tell a portion of the story to each of your 3 friends. And obviously the hope here is that each of them only have a little chunk of the story and they can't put it all together on their own. So you tell one of them that I went to a party last weekend in Vegas. That's all they know. You tell another friend, I met someone last weekend I really like. That's all they know. And then you tell the last person, I think I'm going to get married soon. And that's all that person knows. So this is a pretty good description or pretty good analogy of what happens when applications on your phone collect data about you. Each of them really collect a very small chunk of information. It doesn't do a whole lot on its own. What allows them to stitch that together, what allows data brokers to stitch together the data purchased from the applications collecting it on your phone, is the advertisement ID, which is a code provided in your operating system. It is what proves that all of these apps are on the same device. So if one of them grabs something useful over here and another one grabs something useful over here, it gets stitched together into a comprehensive view of you and your life. Rest of the analogy, I was just speaking from the heart there. Now imagine that all of these friends of yours come together and start talking, and then they put together the entire story. That is the idea of what happens with advertising ID. What you thought was isolated from each other is now stitched together, and you kind of lost control over that information. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what about the real deal? So what's happening here is, like I said, each of these applications, they request a certain amount of permissions on your phone, permissions to access certain things to do their job. Usually each application asks for a little bit more than it actually needs to do its job. After all, they are trying to collect something to sell it off for a profit. They're trying to get whatever they can get away with, really. But generally they stay kind of siloed. Each of them are only grabbing a little bit of info. So like Bumble might know your location, most of the time because it's a dating app. It needs to know your location to be able to tell you who's around you. That's excusable. It needs to know your gender. That's excusable, and as well as your sexual orientation. All of these so it can help you find someone that you would like to go on a date with. Instagram is going to need camera and photos. It's what we do on Instagram is we post photos that we've taken ourselves. It's going to need access to your Wi-Fi to talk to the internet. And when you message in there, there's going to be messages in the app that are stored. And these usually aren't private, in case you're curious. So just be cautious of what you send through there. As well as asking for extra details like your operating system info, which is just really weird because it doesn't need that to do its job. And then TikTok, which is, I tried to write as much as I could there and I ran out of space. It said that it grabs voice and face biometrics. Now, I'm not sure if this is when you're actually recording yourself intentionally or if it's just when you're using your phone and it's using the camera. I have no idea because there's no specifics on the privacy policy, which is great because that's kind of what a privacy policy is for, but they just didn't be specific. It grabs your contacts and tries to figure out who you are friends with, which can be very important, especially if there's a phone number and an email address, there's contact info in there, not just someone's name. Mm-hmm. And anyone who's used TikTok realizes that the algorithm picks up on your preferences really, really fast. So it's going to understand your political leanings. It's going to understand a lot of things about you and the way that you think as a person. Now, each of these on their own isn't really the end of the world. The problem is when each of them can figure out they're on the same phone, run by the same person, and they're collecting information about that same person. Because now that's stitched together, and now that's a very comprehensive view of your life. Can we go to the next one? I think I've got a slide on what that looks like. Okay, so I went into the privacy settings, is what it was. Yeah. If you go to the next one, please. So in our privacy settings, this kind of shows you where this button is and where you can shut off. In iPhone and Android, it's both very easy to do. So in iPhone, I think there's 2 or 3 buttons you want to check under tracking. This is all in your settings. In your settings, you want to type in tracking, and then where it says allow apps requests to track, turn that off. And that pretty much covers like 50% of the job. And I put Bumble there because I noticed for me, the only app that's on there that requested to track but was blocked was Bumble, which I thought was kind of funny.
That's interesting.
And then your second page is Apple advertising, and just turn off personalized ads. Because normally what happens when each of these apps grab the data that they can, they want to know where they came from. So they ask the operating system for an identifying number, a really long string of numbers that's super unique. And the operating system provides it. So every app gets that same number. They all know they came from the same operating system. That's like its address almost. So turning this off means that they don't get that identifier. They're still collecting data, but it's much, much harder to assign it to you. It's still useful in terms of advertising, but the problem we have here is not that people want to collect advertising data. It's that companies want to collect data that's useful for much more than just advertising. It's useful for any organization that wants to watch you day to day for any purpose, including if your government wants to surveil you. They can absolutely do it this way. And it's kind of become like a service thing that our government does participate in quite a bit. And it's a little bit creepy to see. But I think on the next page, I got what's it called? Android. So Android, conveniently, it's pretty easy as well. So you just search for ads in your settings, and then you can go down to, I believe it's delete advertising ID. So that just deletes the code that it uses for you. So it will no longer be able to use that code to be able to identify you individually, which increases your privacy quite a bit. And I think we can go and, if this is all the material, I think we can just click on one of the links to the, one of the articles that I found on this. And this gives literally like minute by minute, foot by foot location accuracy, this tracking technology. So turning it off makes a massive difference.
Believe it.
Choosing your apps. Okay, I want to get through this first because it is kind of important. Forgot about this. So something that's very important, no matter what application you're downloading, each of them are trying to collect a certain amount of info on you. So if you turn off your advertising ID, each of them are siloed. They're isolated from each other, and that's great. But what you can also do, if you have the option, is just choose apps that don't collect as much in the first place. So then whatever is collected about you is very minimal and really doesn't attach to you. So in the iOS App Store, you can see that there are these two little boxes that show basically a little basic privacy report. So it'll tell you, is this application looking at your location, your usage data, which is a very broad term that can mean a lot of things. There's no definition for it, so they can kind of just chuck whatever they want in there. Identifiers is another big one. That's like, what identifiers are you talking about? Is that like a permanent identifier or something that changes every 24 hours? And then diagnostics, which is fine, like the diagnostics to make sure the app works. Usually they don't try and sneak anything in there. In the Android App Store, Google Play Store, that is, they as well have this little box, and you can click See Details to get some more info. And right here we can see it shows location, app activity, and two others. So just scroll through and see which ones you can find if you're looking for an application that you have multiple options. Try and find one that does preserve your privacy a little bit better. Oh yeah, and this is a page that Esna set up, and tons of awesome resources in here. If you're trying to increase your privacy in general, ProtonMail is fantastic. It is an email service hosted in Switzerland, and it is end-to-end encrypted, meaning that ProtonMail themselves cannot even read your emails. And this has been proven in the past. They have been given court-ordered subpoenas, and they gave over what they could, which was just gibberish. It was encrypted. No one can decrypt it, which is the point of encryption, is that no one else can crack it but you. You have the passcode. If you're looking at security, check out haveibeenpawned.com. It's a great little resource. It is reputable. So when it asks for your email, it's legit. It tells you if your email has been part of a data breach. So like if you have a PayPal account that's attached to your email address, it'll tell you if that PayPal's been hacked into in the past. This resource called the Data Aggregator Opt-out is an awesome resource that Esna found that has a, I think it was made by sock.mil, right?
I think so.
Which shows you how to take your website off the people finding websites, not your information off the people finding websites, where you type in someone's phone number and it tells you their name or address, whatever it has. So it has some very good step-by-step instructions. Mobile device, turn off advertising ID. I think we have another snippet in there. And that's all I'm knowledgeable on this page. So.
Yeah, I believe your ad choices also goes on to the Google, the advertisement ID, but it takes it off from Google specifically. I just signed up for Optery, the first one at the bottom bullet, to run data cleanup for myself, and usually I'll go through, run the whole support. For me, it said there was about less than 700 data sources that I was looking at. And then usually I got the full paid version. So our next call, I'll give like a synopsis of my feedback of how it's worked for me. It's running right now. And then I got the 24 a month. So the highest package that they have, because they handle the data removal. Canary used to do similar to I don't know how to pronounce that. But the last I checked, they moved into iOS right now, and they're working on Android, so there's a wait list, but it's only on the phones. Another cool app that I've discovered today is Incogni, INCOGIN, and it scans open source, open public forms for your data and gives you a report. So that's something also to look at, and we'll update these resources as we go. That was stuff that was discovered today. And then with that, if you're looking for the slides, please go to the lionnessinstincts.com/advertisement ID, and you'll be able to download the slides. And then, James, you wanted to share one of the articles specifically?
Yeah, I can pull it up. Would you like me to share my screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. There you go.
Right. Let's see. Go to the top of the page. So this came out January 13, 2025. So it's a very recent thing. It's been going on for a while, but funny enough, this happened. Everyone discovered that this was going on, this data collection, because Gravy Analytics, one of the collectors of this data, was hacked and all the information was blasted on the internet. And we can see through here, I forget where it was in this page, but the alleged hacker had already published a large sample of location data from top consumer applications, fitness and health ones, dating apps, transit apps, as well as many popular games. I think they mentioned a big one in here was Candy Crush. That was literally just there because Candy Crush is just designed so they could put a tracker in there. The game is just so you'll download it. And let's see what else we have here. Yeah, kind of sucks. But this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. Let's see if it'll let me zoom in a bit. This is the kind of geolocation data we're talking about, where it simply plots your location on a map. And these advertising data collectors can very easily just draw a geofence around a particular area of interest and say, tell me who's been here in the past month. And it just tells them every single device that's been there in the past month. And then they can narrow their search field and look for whatever else they want and see everyone who's been here the past month, where else have they been? So this information has your IP addresses, it has your obviously location, tells you what apps are on your phone. It'll tell you if you're using a VPN, it'll tell you what kind of phone you're using, iPhone 15, operating system version. It tells you a lot of information that I think really crosses that line of just gathering basic marketing data to be able to sell a better product or service. This is something that can be used for much more than that. And frankly, this is the kind of thing that can be weaponized. It's very, very easy to do, especially because no one needs permission to do it. So this has been happening for quite some time. No one knew about it. Clearly, they didn't need permission because we didn't know about it. But this is all happening out in the commercial realm, because when you sign up for Bumble, you are giving up the rights to your data. It is legally not yours anymore, which means if our government wants to purchase it, they don't have to go through you. They don't have to go through due process. They just buy it. It's a product from someone else. So it really opens up the door, and nothing bad has been done yet, but it is kind of setting all the stones or something bad could happen from anyone who might want to use it against you or on a large scale. But yeah, these things are a little bit creepy.
Yeah, and I'll share the source on the YouTube description as well for this article and the two others that you sent, James. And then I had seen one, I think we posted it on the Lioness Instagram or reshared it, but there was one that somebody had brought up that they were also using the ad IDs to link people that would go to abortion clinics. Yes. So they're really mapping the folks to those to see who's going there and how often and things of that for their own, who knows what kind of intent they have with that data.
Yeah, that's one of them that's very creepy. If you're going to Planned Parenthood, women's health centers, things like that, why is that being queried so specifically? And I did hear about like a period tracking app that was selling its data.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
There's one that I like. I think it's Flow. I think it's even the one that I use, which sucks. They got my data. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
But yeah, basically the purpose of this presentation, just like the rest of our digital privacy presentations, is to show that pushing back is doable. You can absolutely find better apps. You can absolutely turn off settings that don't need to be running. And your privacy is only violated just because you never looked to turn them off, but you can. It's very doable. And the amount of data that's collected can be reduced significantly.
Very significantly. With simple settings, as we've shown in previous slides. Awesome. Well, with that, thank you for those that have attended and those watching on the YouTube's web. Keep on the lookout for future workshops. You can find us on the lionessinstincts.com on the events page, schedule classes. We'll have another one in February. We'll be focusing on dating and the dating scene. But yeah, reach out to us if you have any interest or a particular topic. Thank you so much, James, for your knowledge and presentation today. And have a good one, everyone.